Hello, today I'm going to show you how I fill my fountain pens, and I'm going to talk about the Nakaya pens that I added to my collection during December 2015. I've been meaning to do a video on these pens for quite some time, but I just haven't been able to get around to it. And so before I come to filling pens, I'll go through the Nakayas first. So Nakayas are really special. I've gravitated somewhat away from buying brand new Montblanc pens, given that the quality of Montblanc is seriously lacking with most of the new pens, apart from, say, special pieces like the Le Aubrac, which is the it's a special edition, like the Meissen, which is the Masters from my stock collection. So if you're shopping at the very high end, sure, of course they are keeping their standards, but the pieces such as the writer's editions, I'm just not entirely sure that they are keeping the same level of craftsmanship as, say, for example, the the Agatha Christie's. So this is the Agatha Christie Romeo, and if I can focus on the interesting bit here, which is the clip. So this is the, well, basically it's a speckled band. Even though speckled band was featured in Sherlock Holmes, his tales, by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and I believe he was a fan of Agatha Christie's work, and so there are episodes of Poirot with snakes involved, and I mean it's basically even as old as the tales of the Egyptians. I can't remember which queen, but she tried to basically kill the king using snakes. So poison is a lady's tool, isn't it? Yeah, should I use the word lady whether it's appropriate, but basically a woman scorned would pull out a snake. Something like that, at least. Anyways, so this clip, this is in vermeil. So vermeil, what is vermeil for those of you who may not be as familiar with stuff like this? Vermeil is basically gold plating on top of sterling silver, and my snake head has tarnished a bit more than you. When I got this, it was pristine. This is a brand new piece out of a brand new box, full. I have the box and all the bits, with the outer sealing and all that. So it's a complete set. But I live in Sri Lanka, and stuff tarnish quite well. You know, tarnishing is a bit heavier here, I suppose, given our weather. So you'll see it's taken on more bronze type look, but it is still gold plated on sterling silver. And to be classified as vermeil, the plating has to be a certain thickness. It can't be the usual microns. If you check on Wikipedia, it'll tell you the exact specification for something to be classed as vermeil. And so the eyes on this snake are set in sapphires, and if you look at them with a loupe, they are quite nice. And on my desk I keep a couple of pens on my desk always. So let me show you the other pen, which is the matching. Let's get the focus back. Yay, ATD. It recovered it quite well, even though I lost it for a moment. So this is the also the snake, the Agatha Christie. So you can see her signature on the writer's edition. But that's the stainless steel version. Sorry, the basic sterling silver version. What am I saying? And so this one has the eyes in rubies, And there's another run that was given only, it's called the press edition. I think it's only 100 pens that were given out to the press, and the snake is sterling silver in that as well, but the eyes were set with emeralds, so they have a green sparkle. So let me change the focus so you can basically see how. So you can see here this pen tray. It's just it's a tray that it's got all this. It's a Peter Rabbit pen tray, and I just keep there's a Vern, and then there is my well, they're all daily drivers, but this is the Sailor with the Naginata Togi nib. Let me give you a close-up of the nib. So we've kind of gone off topic a bit, but I don't think I've given or shown these nibs in such high res before. So this is what's called the Naginata Togi, and what Naginata Togi means in Japanese, essentially it's I think long sword, and what they're referring to are the tines of the nib, how this part here is typically, it's longer and more curvaceous than a typical nib. And if I were to compare, let me put these two side by side, try and get the focus to play along as well. So what am I doing? There we go. So if you do it that way, I think it's apparent what they mean. Look at that shape versus that shape. So you can see that the front, what I call the tines, basically the area that's cut out and that meets the tip, it's a bit sharper. It's a smaller area, at least on the Sailor, whereas here there's a lot more support. And so what happens when you do that is that this part here has a lot more flex when you're writing, and it's just brilliant when it works the way it should. Let's get the focus back. Yeah. And what's really interesting about this pen, let me try and get an even closer zoom. How much more can I zoom before losing focus? Hold on. It may not be completely obvious, or it's the wrong side. I think it's on. Oh, here we go. If you look very carefully, I can get the light to play on it. Over here at the bottom right here, you will find the initials engraved, NM, which are the initials of the now deceased late Nagahara, and now his son has taken over. And so this is quite a special pen in my collection. It writes beautifully. It's an ink guzzler. It's like a V8 in that regard. So I basically digressed on talking about Mont Blanc and how I'm not actively buying any Mont Blanc pens. I think there's probably one pen I may look to add, and that would be a Hemingway. But it's really hard to come across a mint sample. And the prices now would seriously be through the roof. I mean, when I was thinking of adding one, they were in the $5,000 range, and so it's something that I'm not seriously chasing after right now. It may happen at some point if I come across a collector who has a really good sample. I may consider it down the road. So going back to the Nakayas. So why am I into Nakaya now? Well, Nakayas are all handmade in Japan. They're made to order. They essentially work out to be cheaper than a retail Mont Blanc. And what you get is a far more special piece than, say, your run-of-the-mill Mont Blanc pen. So now this was the first. Well, these were both ordered at the same time, as two different pieces, but the same order that arrived together as two boxes. But what I want to show you first of all is in this pen. This is called the Heki-Tamenuri, and Tamenuri is the urushi, the kind of the lacquer that they've done, and nuri in Japanese means pool. So you're basically looking into this lacquer, and it has depth, as if you're looking into a pool of water. And the heki part of Tamenuri means it's this green sheen. So if I were to give you a close-up, let's do a close-up here. What this means is, let's get the focus set correctly again. This green part that comes through from the lacquer is the heki component. Oops, sorry, I kicked the tripod. And the hardware is in rose gold, and this has a special touch. This is maki-e, done by hand, also to order, in gold, not in rose gold, so it has a bit of pop. And what it means is essentially in memory of my father, because I started to appreciate fountain pens thanks to his influence, and I wanted to dedicate these two pens in his memory. And whenever I'm using them, it's a nice little token or reminder. So it's on both pens, and I got a friend a classmate of mine who was with me at King's College London. He very kindly helped me out with the kanji, because the staff at Nakaya basically offered a kanji that wasn't the correct Japanese translation, and anyways, with their help and my friend's help, I was able to get the correct kanji, and that's how that was done. And these are both broad nibs. I like writing broad. My hand is confusing the camera. And the cap, here we go. So this is the special part, the cap. So this has the sterling, these are stoppers basically, so these are not clips. I want to keep these as pens that are going to be used on the desk. So what happens, you can keep your clip on the desk, and now it's not going to roll, so that's the idea. And this dragon stopper is in sterling silver. The eyes are something I picked out. So I picked out emeralds for the eyes, so as to make it complement the heki green, essentially. And the ball he's holding is in rose gold, so as to complement the rose gold tone of the nib. So everything I've done here has been done in a way to complement the design or the elements basically that one can choose when ordering an Nakaya. So you can essentially order the same stopper with rubies if you want, and etc. and etc. So you can basically configure your pen as you like. So now, since this Nakaya is out, I'm just going to double check whether I have. Oh yes, I do have a cartridge. So I do have the converters, but they sent me cartridges, so I thought I'll use them first and then switch over to the converter. And the reason I'm doing that is because I found the ink in these cartridges was quite nice. It's very different to any other kind of ink I've come to use. I don't want this spilling everywhere, so I'm just going to blot this part a bit. And yeah, I'm just going to actually move these. These are what are called pen kimonos, which Nakaya hand makes, and they send them with every order, essentially. So every pen will have its own kimono. That's a nice touch. So I'm just going to dip the nib in water. Oops, sorry, I'm blocking the camera, aren't I? So I'm going to dip, so you can get some focus. Because I'm a right-hander, and so now I have to do the camera placement. I'm just going to slosh the water around and just. I keep them on my writing desk, and so it doesn't get used a whole lot in comparison to the pens on my desk. And again, the reason there is because of the urushi. You need to be careful not to expose the lacquer of the pens to a high degree of UV, so sunlight. And my room normally has a fair bit of light coming in during the mornings. So I keep this in another room where I have a writing bureau, which has been designed to accommodate all my stationery, pens, and stuff like that. So you can just see how I'm basically blotting, just using the feeder to just blot away. And you can see there's still a whole lot of ink within its system. Sorry, I'm just going to use my right hand because I'm just not a very good lefty. And now you can see I've gotten to a point where you can just look how amazing this is. This is just a capillary system and just a nib. There's nothing attached. There's no ink, no reservoir, and it's still pulling out a whole lot of ink. So that's just impressive. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this on the side for the moment till I'm just gonna have to dip my fingers in just to get the ink off my fingers. Okay, I'm gonna keep this on the desk carefully and come back to that. Okay, so with that out of the way, we are going to look at the next Nakaya now. And so again, you have this little clip, and I just don't want to get the ink on my fingers and back onto the kimonos, so I'm just going to be a bit careful. Now this is a very special Nakaya. This is the dorsal fin version 2. These were very hard to come by. They were out of stock, and they were not taking orders because they have so many orders for these, and I was able to convince them midway. It would take about 3-4 months to make one of these pens, but they could allow me to add a dorsal fin, and very kindly, within like 2 months after I placed the order, they said, hey, we can add a dorsal fin to your order. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll jump on that. And again, you can see here at the bottom, I got the, wait, the focus is off, let's move the hand away. I've got the kanji in maki down there as well. You can see I have the 2 fins. So basically it's just a portion that sticks out, and so it's like a natural, it has the shape of the shape is somewhat like that of a katana, or the smaller katana basically, and it has that influence, and slightly it has a curvature, which is very interesting. And so I'm going to open it apart. Well, open it at least. And then again, it's the same rose gold finish for the nib. This may not have cartridge inside it. I think I've already flushed it. Oh, it does. Okay, I need to sort these out. These are going to go in the bin. Right. So this is interesting. In this version, you can see in the other one, the the stem sticks out, because this is got what's called it's got a longer section. It's adapted for Westerners, and this is actually the kind of length of section I like to hold. Whereas with all the basic normal Nakayas, the writer portables, you have this shorter section, so you have less area to grip. So beware if you ever decide to order Nakaya. That is something to watch out for, and it surprised me when I ordered. Actually, these two account as the second two Nakayas. I've had owned Nakaya before, and I made that mistake and I sold it off. And the bigger mistake I made was I went for an elastic fine nib, and it just didn't suit my style of writing. So I found a buyer in Singapore and I sold it to him. And so there you go. You've seen both the Nakayas now. I can close up on the nib. Can we get in further? We can. There we go. Let's stay like that. And actually, I'm going to zoom out for the rest of the clip, because now we're going to. I will come back to sorting these out in a bit. Once I've filled one pen at least, to show you how I go about filling my pens. So I'm going to actually keep this one over here. I don't want these rolling about. Move these as a guard. Okay. I'll throw these in the bin. Oh, yeah, that flew away. Okay. Ink went on the flow. Okay, I'll sort it out later on. Luckily it's not permanent ink, so one went into the bin and one flew on the floor. Okay. So now we're going to at least get one pen done. So these are my three inks. This is the J Herbin. This is one of the newest J Herbins. There's a newer one that just came out and I've got it on order. This is the Emerald of Shiva or something. It has a lovely sheen and it changes colors. This is the Stormy Grey. These are all the 1670 anniversary range from J Herbin. Absolute favorite ink of mine. These inks have gold dust, actual gold dust inside, and so when I turn the bottle in, you can see this is all gold particles basically inside the ink, and you can see that when you turn it over again. I'll just show it to you again. You need to shake up the bottle if you need to get the ink to floor, basically get all the particles to flow back into the ink. Otherwise, there you go, if you start to fill a pen without doing this, the gold particles won't get into your ink. And the gold particles are safe, it won't clog your pen. But what's nice is when you're writing, your ink, once it dries, it starts to have a bit of a sheen or sparkle. There you go. Now I have got most of it shaken. Let's do a bit more. Of course, you want to make sure that you've put the cap on properly before you keep agitating it. Otherwise, you're going to make a big mess. I think that's done the trick. Okay, I think that's enough. So that's all the ink agitated so far, and so now I'm going to take out the barley, which is one pen that always goes with me in my shirt pocket or in a pen case. This is the Monte Grappa pen case. So I'm going to take the barley now. Is always pretty much inked with this ink. So I'm just going to open this up. So I'm gonna get any ink anywhere. Okay, that's fine. And now I'm going to do it this way. Hope you can see. Let's do it like that, because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So now, if your pen has an ink reservoir, like this one does, you can see through the window. You can see that the level of the ink. You may or may not be able to see that. I could try and shine my iPhone light through this. Let's see if I can. There you go, you can see the light flickering through the window. So that gives you an idea of, not all the pens have that, so if your pen has it, it's handy. I'm just going to dab it on the paper first. What you can do is also you can do a blot test to double check that it's the same ink before you try to do what I do. So I have a habit of putting the ink, dipping the ink back into the bottle. But if you're doing that, you'd always make sure it's the right ink. Otherwise you're just going to get yourself into a world of pain. Let me just re-push this position on the camera, and I'll move the tripod. Hope it doesn't go everywhere. Right. Can I move it this way? Which way is better? Oh, there we go. Okay. Now I can change focus a bit. So what I'm doing, at the moment, I'm moving the, hook my arm a bit to prevent the focus going off. I'm twisting the piston at the top, which cannot be seen, and as you can see, ink is flowing out. I will let that ink drip back into the bottle, because why waste it? Oops, a bit splashed on the table, so I will just take it off. And now the piston is fully open. I'm very gentle with the piston. And then this bottle, these bottles actually have a bit of an issue. As you can see, the nib, come on, hang on, I want to change the focus. Come on, focus over there, camera, right. You can see that the nib isn't coated in ink. So I use that, it's the same as changing oil in a car engine. You put this dipping stick in and you check to see if it's coated. So I'm just going to go down till I find, there you go, it's come up a bit, up to where it's getting coated. So I will repeat that till I find, yeah. So I think I can go all the way down more or less. I basically touched the bottom. So I will touch the bottom, and now I'm just going to close the piston very gently. Okay, we've done that, and now I'm going to take it out. Now you can see the nib is fairly coated. What I do is I basically rub the tip on the glass like that, and by doing this, what I'm doing is I'm just letting capillary action. You can see ink flowing out of the nib, because touching the glass, just there you go, just by having contact, ink is just flowing. Look at that. Can you just see that? There you go, ink is just dripping by just touching it, and that shows a well engineered nib. And I'm also going to touch the other side, which does the same thing. Oh, focus. I'm sorry about that. Focus is being thrown off again. And oh, okay. So this clip is about to. I need to restart the recorder. Because Canon, all DSLRs have a limit of recording up to 29, 59 minutes. So I think I will restart this clip as soon as this one dies out. And that's enough. I've done more than enough of this. So now I'm just going to take the nib away from the thing, and I'm just going to start blotting. Just blotting like that, just to clean the nib, and just get the excess off. And now And here's a bit that I just blotted a bit. I'm going to have to put the pen away, because what I want to show you is how much the gold particles get into the ink, and this Herbin ink at least. If I were to get my iPhone torch going, and I'm going to show you this ink. There you go, you can see the gold particles in the middle blob. Look how much the gold dust is shimmering. There you go. And that's just the particles in the ink. That should be clear enough. There you go, you can see the shimmering. There we go, okay. And there you have it. We have now blotted. And also what you can do is dip your finger in some water and then touch on the section, just so you can wet it, and that cleans up the section essentially. Or you can even just dip a paper towel in some water, just so that when you're writing with the pen in the future, you won't get ink on your fingers. So I always do that. I think I'm going to zoom out now because it's getting difficult to work at that focal length. And that's alright. Right. You can also do the stroking motion to get ink off the nib if you find it's gotten all over. And can do something like that didn't come out too well. There you go. I was trying to the hook, and I messed it up on the top one, but it came out quite well. Can do well, something like that. Not so great. I'm messing up today, but can try. What's it? J. This is Conqueror paper. It's not the best for writing with fountain pens because you can see even here how hard it is. My strokes are basically just skipping as the flow isn't great on this paper. And again it comes down to nibs and this thing, but I only sign documents on Conqueror paper, so this isn't ideal. You need to use fountain pen friendly paper. Actually the Moleskine books aren't sold as being fountain pen friendly, but I find those papers to be far more fountain pen friendly than this stuff. So there you have it. Quick clip on how I fill my fountain pens, and let me know what you think about this clip. What do you think about the Nakayas? The rest of the pens in my collection are the same way as I've shown in my the last pen clip I made. If you go through my channel, the last one, the entire collection is exactly the same. The only difference is I bought a Nakaya, sold that Nakaya, and now I've replaced it with 2 Nakayas, and those are the only new additions, apart from the addition of the L'Aubrac, which is the special edition by Masters from Mighty Stock in sterling silver hardware with the Granada Blackwood. That's the extra addition to the collection. Give me a like, subscribe, share your comments, and let me know what you think. Okay, until next time, bye.